This guide is tailored towards GMS Reboot, so whether or not these buffs are available or there are additional ones, that is not going to be mentioned in this video. Every single buff here is going to stack with each other, except for specific categories where I mention conflicting buffs. They also stack additively, not multiplicatively. Here at the start, let's rapid fire out some of the basic ones that have nothing to do with consumables, being Link skills, Legion, and Hyperstats. A level 210 Mercedes offers their level 3 Link skill, which gives 20% experience. At level 210, the Evan class offers a level 3 Link skill that buffs runes. While not offering a direct EXP buff like Mercedes, increases the duration of a rune. Runes offer a double EXP buff for a short period of time. Evan extends this time. The Evan Link skill even gets increased value when there's an event going on that reduces the cooldown of runes or increases the experience they give. Events like this are even relatively common. Then there's the Aran Link skill, offering a level 3 Link skill that boosts the amount of experience that combo kill orbs give. The exact value of the Aran skill is a little bit harder to pin down compared to the other Link skills, but it is still a very valuable leveling Link that you should have in your arsenal. Finally, not a Link skill but instead a Legion card, the Zero class can get up to a 12% experience bonus, but reasonably, most people are going to be stopping at a 10% bonus for a level 200 Zero in their Legion. Moving on to the Legion board itself, if you allocate the experience board of the Legion fully, you will get a 10% bonus to experience. On to Hyperstats. Now a maxed out EXP bonus Hyperstat can get up to 10% experience bonus. The last 5% of this bonus is in the last 5 levels where you're awarded with 1% EXP per level, but that costs 400 points to get, and that can be a lot for people. You are allocating a lot of what could be power for your character into a small experience bonus, and ultimately what is the most important is that you are one-shotting the mobs you are training on, or killing them in as few hits as possible. At 5th job, everybody has access to the common skill Decent Holy Symbol. This offers up to 35% bonus experience if you manage to max the node out. Now on to consumables, starting with the bread and butter 2x EXP coupon. Now these can also come in different variants such as 3x EXP, which is offered from events in rare scenarios, or even 1.5x EXP if your Sunday Monster Park box hates you. These can be obtained from various different means, most commonly events, Monster Park, and Legion. There are so many different other ways to get these coupons. These are just some of the most common ones. Now Legion, that varies depending on your Legion coin spending power, which is increased by just having a higher Legion. Sunday Monster Park boxes, on the other hand, are something that everybody should have access to and everybody should be doing. The upside of this is they can be saved for as long as you want, as long as you don't open the boxes. These can also come out of Saturday boxes as well, as those are wild cards that offer one of the rewards from the 6 other days. Next buff is the MVP atmospheric buff. Many of us are going to get this buff in one of 2 ways. The most common method is going to be other players advertising their MVP atmospheric buff in the chat. General format is the location, usually Mushroom Shrine, the channel, and the time. To make it easier to find these yourself, make sure you turn on timestamps in the chat, switch to one of the tabs that isn't the all tab so you're not flooded with system messages, and just make your chat as big as you can stand. You're also able to find personal MVP coupons that only work for yourself. They're not atmospherics, off of weekly bosses such as Akechi Mitsuhide or Damien and Lotus on their normal difficulties, as well as pretty much any boss beyond those. Next buff is the Monster Park Gold Potion. This is a 10% EXP bonus and it's very simple to obtain. Do Monster Park, open boxes, get coins, buy them from the shop. Next buff is an EXP accumulation potion, also a 10% buff, but it does stack with the Monster Park Gold Potion. These can be either crafted through the alchemy profession or you can find them from weekly boss drops. Now out of consumables and onto equipable items, of which there's only one regularly obtainable one, and that is the Pendant of the Spirit. These are commonly obtainable during events, but they're also obtainable twice a month for 7-day periods from the Fairy Bros daily gifts. Equipping one of these pendants naturally takes up one of your 2 pendant slots, and depending on how long you've been logged in with one equipped, you get up to a 30% EXP bonus. Events will sometimes give you a prepared Pendant of the Spirit, which is the exact same without the ramp up period. It just gives 30% all the time. There's also a small chance you could get one of these from a Sunday Monster Park box, but I've never seen one myself. I've only heard of this. The next are not buffs or items that you use, but instead are systems in the game. The first up is runes. We already discussed this with the Evan Link skill, and I do assume you already have a working knowledge of runes. The TLDR is you play a short little DDR game and then you get a double EXP buff plus a random buff depending on the type of rune it is for a short period of time, extendable by the Evan Link. The next system are burning zones, commonly known about, but honestly, I find a lot of people don't utilize these to their fullest potential. People often stick to the meta maps that have the burning just absolutely grinded out of them and leave a lot of slightly less optimal zones with really high burns around. After all, if one map is only say 20 to 30% worse than the most optimal map, all you need is a burn that's a pretty healthy value to beat it. But if you are concerned with node stone drops or fragment drops for 6th job, Ultimately, you might be most concerned with mobs per hour and not necessarily how much experience each one is giving you, leading you to still possibly prefer the meta maps. It is worth noting that when the game goes down for maintenance, burning zones actually regenerate while the servers are down, leading even meta maps to come back up with a high burning. Finally, here at the end, we're going to cover some buffs that are really just not consistent, or they're just temporarily available. First up, we have the Housekeeper buff. This thing can only be used once a day for your entire world, so wasting it on a small experience buff instead of a boss buff is generally not ideal, especially since the experience buff is only 10%. Next, various events like to give out temporary titles, and it's not uncommon for these to give an experience bonus, kind of like the hyper burning ones. Next thing, events also like to give you temporary stat boosts. Often these are customizable and you get to pick what they do, such as the New Age event that we have running right now. This is a very common UI. Obviously it looks a little bit different each time, but the general premise is the same. You can get an EXP buff here that goes up to as high as 15%. And lastly, there are a lot of different EXP buffs related to events, consumables that are temporarily available, like the VIP buff in the New Age right now. Sometimes even atmospheric buffs that automatically go off in the event zone every 2 hours. It's impossible to predict. All you need to know is that it's very common for events to give some kind of EXP bonus, and you just need to be on the lookout for those when they show up. The 285% down in the bottom left, that is only the numbers that can be just straight added up, don't have to be averaged out for things like runes or the Evan Link skill. The real number when you actually average everything out is so much higher than the number in the bottom left. It's not unreasonable to get over 400% quite easily. And there might even be some things that I missed, but this is the good stuff. So thank you to my members, my patrons. As always, thank you for watching. Good luck grinding, and I'll see you in the next one.